want to bring in Mississippi Republican Senator Roger Wicker, member of the Armed Services Committee. Senator, what do you make of General Flynn's contacts with Russia? We're 21 days in, and this isn't the first time we've heard inappropriate, possibly illegal.
You know, I can't imagine what General Flynn would talk about with the Russians if it weren't policy. So, you know, I find myself not astonished at all. I'm sure it'll be investigated. As I understand it, this statute is a statute from the 1790s and has never been enforced, but it's something to look at, and I don't think it's going to rank right up there among the major issues of the week.
But if it is illegal, are you comfortable with the fact that General Flynn, before the inauguration, was talking about the sanctions?
You know, I'm comfortable with the fact that someone who's going to be an important part of the administration went to talk to some people on the other side of many issues, and the fact that issues came up, policy came up, and I think it's probably nothing more than that. But listen, I'll be happy to listen to what the attorneys say and be happy to be persuaded otherwise. But I would have been surprised had General Flynn not talked about the great policy issues that Russia and the United States differ over.
All right, I want to turn for a moment to the travel ban. Where do you stand on it?
Well, I think the travel ban was appropriate. Of course, it was a temporary timeout in most of these countries, 90 days. And, you know, I just think the Ninth Circuit is way out there, and this three-judge panel was way off in this case. It should be overturned. And frankly, you know, what do judges have, what do they mean by asking what a campaign statement was? This wasn't about a campaign statement at all. This was about a policy made in January and February by the President of the United States, and for them to be comparing that to some statement made during a political campaign is way outside the purview of this particular case. I think the president can do this. I think the previous president, President Obama, had named these countries as problematic, and as you know, most of the Muslim countries in the world were not affected at all by this.
Are we less safe today because of the court decision?
I think we would be safer if the ban is enforced. I think it will eventually be enforced. And frankly, I think the president has the constitutional authority to do it, and it helps also that he's authorized to do this by statute.
I want to talk for a moment. You're going to meet with Judge Gorsuch later today. What do you need to know from him? You know, there's been a lot of noise in the last 24 hours. Judge Gorsuch expressing to senators who he met with that he wasn't so comfortable with the way the president has been talking about so-called judges and his words about the judiciary.
I have a lot of friends that I was in law school with who are now on the bench, and I'll just tell you, judges don't like it much when politicians start talking about the power of the judiciary, so I'm not at all surprised by that. I think the president is still correct that this is an outstanding jurist. I think he'll do a great job. I've already made public statements and written in favor of Judge Gorsuch. I think we'll talk about a few issues today that might give me an idea of where his mind is on a couple of themes that might come up in the coming months and years on the court. But I think he's an outstanding choice, and frankly, the fact that people from not only the right, but the great middle ground, and also people on the left side of the spectrum are endorsing him, I think is instructive.
All right, Senator, thanks so much for joining me this morning.
Thank you.
Next.